Hello and welcome back to the Brightworks. Wanted to show off this artwork before I clear it. Usually I clear the map before I start recording, but we've got something special for you today, so I wanted to show that off. Anyways, welcome back to the Brightworks. Today we are taking a look at Lightside, Darkside. Well, I guess it's just Darkside version 3.0. There's another map called Lightside, Darkside, but this one just called Darkside. We're just looking at the dark side of the moon here. And today, this is going to be a very exciting match. I love this version of the map because it has these cute little buildings down here that you can see, which give you some scale for how big these robots are. And these buildings are, I mean, presumably human size, which means that these robots are gargantuan. But let's meet our team, shall we? The people who are going to be fighting, the brave commanders fighting over these buildings. Spawning in the western hemisphere, the northwestern half to be specific. Here we have StarCraft Man. A little bit confused. This is not quite the same game, but if you're coming over from StarCraft, we're happy to have you. Always a treat to see StarCraft players talking about their experience versus talking about Bar. I know I for one came from StarCraft as well, and let me tell you, it's nice to be able to split up your units into a nice little formation with the click and drag of a button. It's like a skill that you have to develop in StarCraft. But in this game, it's a possibility. It's a reality, and it makes things so much nicer. So much nicer. Anyway, StarCraft Man, our red team leader, and I'm excited to see what they're going to be going for today. Forced to use the T1 solar panels as there is no wind on this map. Can't hold it against them. Unfortunate. Spawning in the eastern half, we have Prime R. Prime R going to be our blue team leader today, also going for these solar panels. Again, nothing you can do about that. It's just how this map works. We do have some res bots out. That's great because there is tons and tons and tons of metal. We should have our overlay popping up here any second now. Sometimes it just takes a second to load, I've realized. But that's okay. Anyway, Primar is out and about now, and there we go. Yeah, we can see. So there's 600 metal tied up in these with little bursts of metal here and there, and there's also just tons of rocks laying around that give you a bunch of metal. So really, really nice stuff to go around and start reclaiming all that just as quickly as you can. I'm going to give you and your team a very nice boost here. And it looks like we're going for bot labs. I see a whole lot of bot labs, although that's interesting. We do have a trapper out. Very interesting. Trapper is going to be going for a sneaky camera here. That's quite odd. Oh, we're gonna start trapping the mine, or trapping the metal extractor points here. Unfortunately, this trapper does not have the resources to build this. Oh, I guess it does. Well, the trapper gets spotted and it will get shut down. The camera, likewise, will be shut down as well. But that was an interesting idea. I like to see it. Good work, McGillis. Who got the first units out? It is far too aggressive already for me to say. Couldn't even tell you. Everybody has units out on the field, which I love to see. So in this one, we're going to give it a People's Choice Award. Let me know who you think should deserve the Get a Unit Out on the Field award for today. Ooh, some damage in the backline here. Got a couple of grunts that have broken through, and they're going to be quite a menace. Harassing down this poor construction bot. Never saw it coming. There's a Centurion out. The bravest bot available. At least during Tech 1. To the Armada faction. A lot of contingents to that. Makes it sound very disgenuine. We have a vehicle lab and a bot lab up north here, so a little bit of a mix of strategies going on. We have a vehicle lab here from Yellow. A lot of scuffling down here. Do you guys mind waiting a second? I gotta get through everybody. Thank you. We've got bot lab down here. Wow, we've already planned out our T2 lab. Well, we don't have anywhere near the metal we need for that, so hopefully we're planning on expanding sometime soon. Though I guess Ergo has done a phenomenal job of expanding. We do have all of these under control. We just need more power. Luckily, these advanced solar panels are pretty good for that. Bot lab here and vehicle lab, so that's what we'll see out in the middle of the map. Mostly bots, a couple vehicles here and there. They did mark that they had air players. Oh yeah, they weren't kidding. So we have a light blue air player, and we have a seafoam blue player. Sort of a, yeah, we'll go with seafoam. That's a nice little color. Happy little trees. There are no wrong mistakes, only happy accidents. Commander out on the field here to harvest up some of this juicy metal. Sending that back to its laboratories. They're going to be very, very nice. That means this player is going to have a nice little overabundance of resources here. Very low on energy. I'd love to see something starting up an advanced solar collector. So far, the lines are drawn nice and neatly. Although I will say the blue team is doing a great job of contesting a lot of this middle ground here. That being said, there are rocket bots pushing forward. And they're getting quite a lot of work done. But yeah, green controlling all of this section here is going to be really nice. Let's take a look at these metal spots. So those are 3.2 as opposed to... looks like most of them are 3.2. There are some back here, so it's either 2.0 or 3.2 spots. Sorry, I just missed the commander duel right there. Just for your recap here, it was Halos commander, the lime green commander, up against looks like Elm's commander, and it looks like neither of them won. Although Elm has way more forces available on the front line, so I would probably say that is it was a better trade for them. Yeah. Whoa, another commander goes down here. Looks like it was Tom Ruler and... who was that there? Orange? McGill's. Ah, okay. That's a bit odd. Somehow purple got behind orange, and they somehow traded out. Swingez is now moving in with the commander of their own to eat up these delicious corpses. That is quite nice. Yeah, we've got Resbots already moving in. Very nicely done. This is going to send so much metal back to the team. You can see everybody's metal bars are filling up. Nobody can hardly spend their metal fast enough. Good problems? Yeah, we're trying to snipe these Resbots here. It's a good move. Keep denying those Resbots as long as you can. But this commander of course is going to be able to eat all this stuff up. It's got plenty of health to deal with all this. But that is really nice. That's going to give this team a really nice advantage here. We're starting up a bot lab, which is interesting. Odd that we went for an air start and then now we're just going to go for a bot lab. Also odd that we haven't claimed all these metal extractors, because especially with those air constructors, you would imagine that you could do that really, really easily. Up north here, we do have some tanks rolling in, and they're going to start causing trouble down here. Blowing up one agitator already. We do find a construction bot as well. That hurts. A lot of Dark Green's forces down here were just left to their own devices, and unfortunately these units are quite mindless when they're left to their own devices. Oh, we've got a metal extractor over here that will survive the great purge. But yeah, units are collapsing inward all over the place here. Pawns running by and they're causing a lot of trouble. There are some sprinters out. That's the T2 raiding bot for Armada here. It comes out of the T2 lab, which Primar already has up and running. Very nice. We actually have tons of metal and energy too. We're actually having a build power shortage, so I'd love to see I'd love to see this bad boy staying at home and building some more, or at least throwing up a few more construction turrets, and then these guys can finish them up. Anywho, Blue Jay doing a great job of flipping the scripts here and completely contesting this entire middle section. They're a little bit exposed here because a lot of the units from purple have pushed in and they could just collapse inward this way, but I guess there's light laser turrets in there and units are streaming through as well, so it wouldn't be that hard to clean up. Blue Jay is on a phenomenal economy right now, though. This aggression is being rewarded heavily. I'm not sure if we're pushing forward or if it's just because of all these metal extractors, but either way, we have a tremendous economy, and so scaling production should be next on the list. I think it's time to go for another construction turret. One of these is thinking about it. Looks like this guy is going to place one down. Yeah, you can scale really quickly on this map just because of how much metal there is available. Looks like everybody is full on resources. Primar's got some T2 units out, so their bank is broken, but that's fine. These units are so efficient that it's absolutely worth it. See, every time these fire, it takes off, I don't know, maybe a third of the health from one of these maces, which is phenomenally efficient. We've also got Rocketeers being harassed to death by pawns down here. That's also very nice. Rocketeers famously very bad at dealing with pawns, especially when they get up and close and personal. That splash damage can be quite critical. And these pawns should easily mop up the rest of this. Now the hounds are out, and those are going to push back all of this army really, really nicely. Unless the army is coagulated in a sense. There's no way that the hounds are gonna really face any trouble here, especially against this T1 stuff. The tanks are survivable, and I'll give them that, but they can't really catch up to the hounds. The hounds can always just kite away. Yeah, so it's really important to just stall with these. You really just want to keep these alive as long as possible. You don't really want to force anything out with those. We do have our own T2 vehicle lab up and running, so once this comes out, then we'll be in a much better position against these hounds. We get some Tigers out, we get some Banishers out, some Quakers out, some Czars out, all that good stuff. Really, really good stuff coming out of the vehicle lab here for Cortex. And suddenly this lane is wide open here. There's no tech coming out of the orange player, McGillis. We're still just on that T1, so a lot of these units are going to get outscaled really quickly here. We're scaling up production to just multiple T1 bot labs down here. This is kind of an interesting strategy, but it can work really nicely. It's definitely terrifying. Watching 400 ticks run towards you. It's it'll put the fear of God in you, that's for sure. These hounds are just devastating this front line. Look at those artillery barrage. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Light gunships also out. Interesting that we see these come out. We barely ever see these used really effectively, but they have definitely found their niche right here. Catching a few of these backline artillery exposed, and yeah, they're going to be able to get a nice little bit of damage on those. We're going to retreat for now, take on a defensive role here. Mavis is teching up here. We've got a reactor on the way. We're planning on switching up here. I'd love to see some of these T1 solar eaten up for their metal. Their metal is worth so much more in a reactor than it is in a solar panel. So I'd love to see that. What's our other air player up to? We've got a T2 lab out. We've got T1 lab out. We're just going for a little bit of everything. Why not? I think what I'd really love to see is a T2 constructor being handed over to either of these players down here that don't have one yet. They haven't asked for one. I'm sure if they asked, their team would be generous enough to give them. But that's definitely, somebody was asking me in a comment section, what are some tips for improving my early game? That's another one I might give. If you get to T2, the first thing you can always do is look around and see who on your team needs T2 as well. And if any of them need T2, you can definitely hand them out or ask for some payment. You know, tell them to pay you back later. But yeah, get them a T2, and if their economy is booming, your economy is booming. That goes double if they're in front of you, right? Like I would argue this purple player is kind of in front of swings here. And yeah, if the player in front of you is keeping you safe, do the best you can to upgrade their economy. Gunships in the back line here. Very nice. They found a couple of metal extractors that were exposed, as well as some solar panels. We're already up to advanced solar, so these aren't tremendously important to the economy here. But it is nice. Forcing a bunch of anti-air defense to come out here. And they're going to keep going, too. They do find a constructor here. And they're going to start laying down that aerial DACA. Very nice to see. Big push up north here. We're trying to break through this line, but it is well defended. StarCraft Man doing a great job of pushing forward with this setup here, where you do the bot lab and the vehicle lab. And this is exactly why it's useful, is because you get these tanky, well, tanks. You get those out, and those can provide a whole lot of support for your artillery, of course. just like you would normally get out of the vehicle lab. But also when you, I mean, right now he's teching up, but when you normally have a T1 lab out, you also get those either the ticks or the grunts or the pawns or whatever it may be, and those offer a huge vision bonus for the artillery and the tanks. And the army, the whole army together comes together to become a really, really beautiful composition. So that's a developing new meta that I'm really happy about. Centurion on the march. Hounds, even more menacingly, on the march. We've got the boys out. They look like the 300. The maces guarding the ridge. We do have these in their Gauss mode. Or, well, some of them in their Gauss mode, yeah. Some of them are in heavy plasma. I guess the reinforcements, by default, they come out of the lab and they have their Gauss mode enabled. Ooh, we have a bull on the front lines. Very nice. The bull can do a tremendous amount of damage. Nice little pan for you there. Artillery are now raining on the aggravator here, though. Things have never looked more dire for this agitator. Sorry, not aggravator. Aggravators are the rocket bots. Well, there's an attempted tank run by, but luckily the air player did have some Hornets available, as well as Primar's Hounds, which were there in position as well. And so luckily all those tanks were shut down. Shut down. We've got more of these Tiger tanks out, though. That is quite nice. Oh, these maces. They take so much damage when they're clumped up like this. But yeah, the front lines are slowly collapsing back and forth here. You can see the tech waves here where it was firmly in the grasp of the blue players, and then now it was pushed back to the red players, and now with these hounds moving out, it's back in the hands of the blue. Hornets over here, the T2 gunships, really powerful monsters, these ones. You can see these do a ton of damage. They're their little Sabo battery missile. Yeah, they can really tear stuff apart so quickly. One of them is getting pretty low, but yeah, these guys are now unrestricted here. There's no response back here for these gunships in the back line, and this is looking really, really bad. The T2 lab does go down. One of the gunships finally goes down, but there's still 3 very healthy-looking gunships, and yeah, things are not looking great here. That was a bit odd. For some reason, those units were having a bit of a stalemate there. They were just holding hands. All is well, I suppose. Yeah, Elm in a serious amount of trouble here, though. We're down to no constructors left. Our remaining units are being harassed by Hornets, and they're not anti-air units, so not even that is good. Yeah, things are looking bad for Elm, and in many respects, the entire rest of the map, the entire rest of the red team here is in a whole lot of trouble, because yeah, there's not a whole lot more that can be done about this middle section. I guess Cold Flame's units are slowly trickling out here, but we don't really have the economy upgraded. We do have just 2 T2 metal extractors. I think it's 2. Oh, we've got 3, okay. 42 metal a second. Wow, we actually do have plenty of metal, we just don't have the energy. Interesting. Did we never make a T2 constructor? We must have to make the, to upgrade the metal extractors, right? I think a comm bomb is probably well within order. This is a really huge force that we're dealing with over on this side. Look at that, they just melted a Tiger. It took 1 volley for them to melt an entire Tiger tank. Ooh. That's gotta hurt. Ooh, Azar is finally out here. It's not gonna be in position though. These hounds are already in the back line and they're already devastating. Azar's got a lot of work to do. It cannot shoot nearly as far as those hounds can, and the hounds can outpace the Tsar. So if they see it and they run away from it, they kite it, it's going to be a really bad day. Cold Flame deciding to run away instead of pushing into the hounds. I think probably pushing the hounds probably might have been a better choice. Oh, the Tsar's doing good work. Yeah, it's getting a few shots off. Yeah, very nicely done. Yeah, it's landing its hits. Whoa. Lobbed that one quite a bit further than it was probably trying to there. Very nicely done. Yeah, the Tsar does save the day. Power is still critical here. I think we need to start a fusion reactor ASAP. If we don't step up our fusion production, we are never going to get out of this hole. Anti-nuke is already up for one of these players. Well, a couple. It kind of covers a couple of these players here. Green anti-nuke. Another one is coming up down here as well, and it finishes up as well. So those are going to be well covered, even though there is no nuclear threat presently on the field. Hounds clean up the most of this. The blue hounds are returning, though. They were not completely dealt with, and that's the danger of assumptions. We're risking it all and these hounds not coming back, but of course they are. Why wouldn't they? The Tsar is still relatively close by, so we could see a lobbed shot take out all of these. They're all scuffed up pretty badly. Oh. Oh, it was close. Nice. This one's down to 1%, and it will go down. The defensive Tsar here to save the day. That's a lot of sprinters in the back line. Excellent play right here. We're jumping on top of this energy production, which is really, really nice. That is going to slow down this player quite a lot. So much metal just thrown down the drain there. Yellow's economy is suddenly hurting really bad. We have the sprinters coming out. The fusion reactors are already up for the green and the blue player, so they're going to be able to be producing out of these T2 labs like it's a piece of cake. Really, really nice to see. The blue team showing us how to scale absolutely perfectly. The red team just a bit too slow. These Hornets being extremely devastating. No air player on this team. Well, actually there are some fighters out, but I mean, they're just T1 fighters, I suppose. More of a personal defense than a team defense kind of thing. Unfortunate, specifically for these players that are being torn to death by these Hornets. Indeed, enough of them fall that the red team decides to cave in under the weight of the blue. Very nicely done. The blue team doing a phenomenal job of keeping the aggression high, keeping the pressure up, and keeping the ball rolling. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this one, feel free to leave a like, subscribe down below, all that good stuff. I will see you in the next video.